Hello and welcome to GC360, your source for the latest news and stories from the heart of our community and beyond. I'm Jackson Schwartz, and we have a packed show for you today.
And I'm Amelie Sengupta. Whether you're a student, faculty member, or just someone interested in what's going on in our community, GC360 is here to keep you informed and engaged. Coming up, we'll look into the factors that led elected President Donald Trump to win the state of Georgia.
And make sure to lock your vehicles since a recent car break-in took place on our very own campus.
And could historical homes pose a threat to students residing in them? Reporter Drew Hill will give us the answer to that. This is GC360, where news comes full circle. Welcome to GC360. Georgia was a pivotal swing state in the presidential election, and our very own Baldwin County was also a standout. Reporter Madeline Agostini talked to Georgia College political science students about their thoughts on the matter.
The 2024 election concluded last week with former President Donald Trump as this year's president-elect. This was a huge election year for America, and all eyes were on the swing states, with Georgia being one of them. Trump ended up winning all 7 swing states, which ended up getting him the 270 electoral votes that he needed to win the presidency. Our home state was almost completely divided when it came to this election, with predictions lying between 50 and 60% of the vote going to either candidate. I spoke with senior political science major Anna Hunker on what she thinks Trump's campaign did successfully to secure Georgia's 16 electoral votes.
So Georgia is very largely rural, and I think that Trump's campaign and what he stands for heavily aligns with the rural residents of Georgia. He really campaigns on gun rights and making sure that everyone has access to firearms. Also, Georgia and much of the states in the South are very religious, and Trump's campaign was heavily aligned with his religious values, and I think that a lot of residents of Georgia and just the South as a whole really like the idea of his religious morals being in office at a federal level. So I think that a lot of the Georgia residents that value that's what they were really looking for in a candidate.
In 2020, Georgia went to President Joe Biden. Baldwin County was one of the standout counties in this election, as well as Hancock, Jefferson, and Washington counties, as these typically tend to go red. However, this year, Baldwin County went back to Trump. I spoke with junior political science major Samantha Payton on why she thinks this change occurred.
So I think that they went red in 2024 because voter turnout within the rural counties were a lot higher, especially in Republican voters, and why rural counties typically do vote Republican. This year they were a lot higher compared to 2020, but voter turnout within the state of Georgia was very high in 2020, and there are more registered Democrats than there are Republicans in the state of Georgia. So it's really just a matter of who turns out to vote in which year and which election.
Stay tuned for next week, as we'll be hearing from students about their opinions on this election outcome. I'm Madeline Agostini reporting for GC360. Back to you.
Last month ended on a sour note for some after a vehicle in the Centennial lot on GCSU's campus got broken into. The car was not locked, which provided entry into the car. Reporter Ryan Collins discussed this instance with public safety about what students can do to prevent instances like this going forward.
In a recent incident at Centennial parking lot, a vehicle was broken into after being left unlocked. Several personal items were stolen, including valuables that were visible from outside the vehicle. This incident serves as a reminder of the importance of taking basic security precautions to protect personal property. Public safety officials are reminding everyone to lock their vehicles, even if only leaving them for a short time. Many car thefts occur in parking areas, and unlocked vehicles are easy targets. Taking the time to lock your car doors and hiding valuable items can help deter potential criminals and reduce the risk of theft. I spoke to Wes Harden, the Director of Public Safety, on his reaction to this.
Yeah, back on October the 30th, we had an incident in the Centennial parking lot. We had a non-student that was here as a visitor. He had parked his car in the Centennial parking lot, and unfortunately, they had not secured the vehicle. They had left the vehicle unlocked, and they had several items of value that were left in plain view so that the people could see it. And at that particular time, we had some individuals walking through the parking lot that we do not believe were students, that were looking for a crime of opportunity. We can see on video and video surveillance that they were testing the handles and the locks on some of the doors. And they found this one particular vehicle that was unlocked, and they went into it and they were able to remove a couple of items of value. If there's a silver lining to this, apparently most of the vehicles in the parking lot were locked.
Public safety advises students and community members to report any suspicious behavior in parking areas. If you see something unusual, contact campus security immediately. Working together as a community is one of the most effective ways to prevent crime and ensure a safe environment for everyone. I spoke to Bobby Johnson on his opinion on this incident.
It makes me scared to not lock my car, because what if my stuff gets stolen? And makes me hope that the police are going to work or campus security are going to work and do something about this, because I mean, I don't leave my car unlocked, but I would like the luxury to be able to.
If you would like to know more about public safety, go to publicsafety@gcsu.edu. Reporting for GC360, I am Ryan Collins.
As you walk to campus, you are greeted with many historical houses. Today, they are now home to different students, organizations, and Greek life. As beautiful as these homes are, the question remains, could they provide safety risks to the students living in them? Drew Hill talked to students residing in the historic homes about their living experience.
Once the capital of Georgia, Milledgeville is a town that is rich in history, where it is home to some of the most well-preserved homes in Georgia.
These structures dating back to the early 1800s are now used for office spaces or student housing. They give Milledgeville its distinct character and draw in tourism. The stunning Greek Revival homes with their grand columns and ornate details showcase the town's past, but how safe are they for the students living there? I talked to senior mass communications major Zoe Patton about her experience living in the Alpha Delta Pi house.
A safety concern about the 80 Pi house is that since it is old, there's a lot of features that aren't really up to date. And I feel like they could add like a better security system and things like that since young girls are living in there.
These homes lack modern safety features found in newer buildings. Common safety issues include limited fire escape, outdated electrical wiring, and structural wear and tear that could pose dangers in the event of an emergency. I asked senior Maggie Beville some of the safety concerns she experienced while living in the FIMU house.
I live in a historical house and it was built in like 1832. It's been updated a little bit, but the floors are really old. I get splinters all the time. And then the door, we tried to get it fixed. It like had to get industrial handles put onto it because it would never shut right or it would never lock. And then this balcony upstairs, it is structurally unsound just because of the like historicalness of the house. Like it wasn't built to last this long.
For students seeking a unique living experience, Milledgeville's historical homes still remain a charming option, but one that demands awareness and caution. With the increase in heritage tourism, Milledgeville's historical homes continue to attract attention. Residents and visitors agree Milledgeville's architectural legacy is not just a charming feature, but a vital part of Georgia's history.
Reporting to you from GC360, I'm Drew Hill. Back to you.
Coming up after the break, we'll look at a recent class that was available for faculty members at GCSU.
And in honor of Veterans Day, we're taking you for some coffee.
And the records retention cycle has come to an end during Ethics Awareness Week. All of this and more when GC360 returns. See you after the break.
I'm Eric Griffiths. I am the interim chair of the Department of Theater and Dance. Our general mission, of course, is teaching theater artists, actors, designers, technicians. Of course, students will specialize in certain areas, but they will know if an actor leaves here and that is their goal is to perform, they will also know how to hang a light. They will know how to sew a button on a costume. They have these other skills. So we offer kind of a mix of the soft skills and the hard skills for doing the work. Our goal is to create a well-rounded theater artist that knows a little bit about everything that goes into producing theater.
Welcome back. The Office of Human Resources hosted a CPR certification class for GC employees. This included information about the 2-year certification from Red Cross and had the objective of training as many people as possible. The event was part of our university's Imagine 2030 project, which has the mission to expand the educational experience on campus. Student Savannah Biggers shared a personal experience and why CPR is a valuable skill.
My mom's a nurse. And when I was 11, my dad fell unconscious and stopped breathing for a time there. And because of my mom, being certified and up to date in her CPR training, she, was able to sustain him, keep him alive long enough that the ambulance arrived in time. But without her training, who knows what would have happened.
A GCSU research lab called Sights and Sounds of the Veteran Identity showcased their work this past Tuesday at Blackbird Coffee. Our technical director, Erin Finnegan, was there to capture it.
Sights and Sounds of Veteran Identity, a Georgia College-led research group about giving veterans their chance to identify what veteran identity is. This project was started 2 years ago by Dr. Stephanie Jett and Dr. Lori Peebles. This past Tuesday, they were able to showcase their research thus far. And with a broken wing, she still sings. The team wanted something different from research already done with veterans on identifying what the veteran identity is. Dr. Stephanie Jett, one of the leading professors in the research, explains their choice.
So instead of defining veteran identity for them, I said, let's ask them what it means to them. So we wanted to give them voice. We wanted to give them really ownership of their own identity. So I partnered with Dr. Lori Peebles over in music therapy, and we had talked about the impact that music had made on our own individual lives. As we developed and talked to our students, and they all talked about how music made such a big impression on them as they grew and developed. And we said, okay, maybe we can use music as a conduit to allow people to select songs that make sense and resonate with them in parts of and aspects of their identity.
The use of lyric analysis and photo voice allowed participants to think deeper on the meanings of their chosen pictures and songs.
One of the photos that always stands out to me is Farewell and Return. And when we were given that photo by one of our vets, we all looked at it, and almost all of us interpreted it as a happy homecoming. And it's just a man and a woman embracing. And you can tell there's emotion, strong emotion on the veterans, they're not a veteran yet, the service members' face. But there is ambiguity there, but almost all of us who had never served interpreted that as a homecoming. And he said, I see the pain when we leave. I see the fear of, am I going to come back? So he had titled the photo Farewell and Return, because we don't know that moment when they let go and they have that connection of am I going to go off and make the ultimate sacrifice for my country, which we're ready and willing to do if we have to, but we don't want to. We don't want to leave the people that we love and care about the most, but we are willing to do it if that's what it's asked of me. So that ambiguity in that photo and the difference in perspective, I think it's a beautiful thing, that both lyrics, that we can hear the same thing and interpret it such a different way, but have commonality of the experience and the emotion is incredibly important.
At the event, the participating veterans were able to explain a little about their song choices before it was played for the crowd.
You can leave it all behind, even the devil needs time alone sometimes. You can let it all go. You can let it all go. It's called free fall. It's called free fall.
Their photo voice choices were also displayed throughout Blackbird with QR codes to more information on the process of picking those pictures. 3 students involved shared their feelings of how they were impacted by the research.
It's impacted me so far, which is just being able to see how this experience has helped the veterans that we've been working with, especially hearing from them firsthand how this has healed them in some ways has been it's been really crazy.
My answer is pretty much the same. It has also been really insightful, though. There was a lot that veteran identity isn't a monolith, but there's a lot that I've learned from the interviews, and it's been really interesting to see all the different perspectives and how different people's experiences affected them. Sorry. Yeah, I would say the same thing. One of our individuals actually seeked out therapy afterwards, and I think that was very rewarding to learn about, and they kind of had realized after all of the photo interviews, conversations that we had with them, that they had more to deal with than they realized. Also, I think learning that the amount of help qualitative data can help a community of people, especially a form of qualitative data like CPR. I think I didn't know much about community research and qualitative data in that regard, because we learn a lot about quantitative data, but getting hands-on experience with that qualitative and truly getting to see the effect we have on people's lives has been very rewarding.
Get up, get up, get up, move on. Get up, it's taking so long.
Sights and Sounds of the Veteran Identity will continue their research, hoping to obtain additional and diverse meanings of the veteran identity. For more in-depth of the participant's veteran identity, you can scan this QR code. Also, if you are interested or know someone who is, you can fill out an interest form also attached to the QR code for their next round of research. Reporting from GC360, I'm Erin Finnegan.
Ethics Awareness Week is hosted annually as a way to promote ethical standards throughout the education system. Recently, a shred cycle was hosted to give university departments the opportunity to destroy old files that may contain sensitive information. This year, the GCSU discarded the contents of 47 95-gallon bins, and more than 11,000 pounds of paper were shredded. Chief Audit Officer Rhonda Fowler shared more on record retention.
Records retention is, it's your ethical duty handling sensitive documents to care for them in a manner that they should be done. And when we had, looked at the staff to understand that there was no records retention consistent standardized training, there was no consistent locations around campus that were secure to hold all of these documents.
Let's take a look at this week's weather forecast with anchor Hannah Deal. Take it away, Hannah.
Hello, Bobcats, and welcome to this week's weather forecast. With shorter hours of daylight, the lower temperatures are starting to show, especially with the rain and gloomy skies we've seen today. But don't worry, because I have good news for you. Let's see what this upcoming week is looking like. Tomorrow, we're expecting bright sunny skies to brush away the week with a high of 67 and a low of 43. On Saturday, the sun should stick around with a high of 69 and a low of 42. So consider soaking up the nice weather by attending the Autumn Dash 5K at the Oconee River Greenway at 9 a.m. Sunday will have mostly sunny skies with a high of 70 and a low of 46, which is perfect for staying outside now that finals are near, or if you're like me, maybe it's time to start that assignment that's due at midnight. Moving on. Next week, on Monday, we'll see partly cloudy weather to start the last week before Thanksgiving break, with a high of 72 and a low of 54. That will be a much needed break, so don't text me. I'll be busy taking a long nap. Tuesday will bring a high of 75 with a low of 59 and an afternoon of showers, so consider spending the evening at Georgia College's Jazz Jam from 7 to 9 p.m. at Amicis. On Wednesday, showers will continue with a high of 65 and a low of 42. So stay dry and show up at the game of women's basketball versus Shorter University at 6 p.m. in Centennial. Finally, next week's Thursday will be partly cloudy again with a high of 62 and a low of 42. And that's all I've got for you this week. Have a good week and stay dry.
Thanks, Hannah. Coming up after the break, a manufacturing error made a toy company recall thousands of dolls.
And we look into the newest production by the Department of Theater and Dance.
And AJ Coney will give us the latest on yesterday's basketball game against Auburn. All of this and more when GC360 returns. See you after the break.
My name is Kathleen O'Neill, and I'm the costume shop supervisor and instructor for the theater department. So the costume department does a lot of different things. It helps teach our theater majors what costuming is for theater in general and for film. A lot of students come in to be theater majors not knowing that tech is going to have to be part of their major, and they don't know how to sew, they don't know how a costume shop works, and so that's my job to teach them. Most of the time they take the skills they learn in here and then they apply it to their life. And I hear all the time that they come in and they're like, Kathleen, I sewed a button on my pants because you taught me how to do it. And it just makes me feel good. But yes, they do take what they learn in here and apply it to their personal life.
Thanks for staying with us. The Bees are back in GC360 to give us the latest buzz in entertainment. Here's B. Rowan.
Thanks, Amelie, and hello, Bobcats. The Grammy nominations were updated, and the final round of voting opens up December 13th, where you can select your favorite record, album, and song of the year. Beyoncé is already setting record with her 11 nominations this year, making her both the person with the most nominations in one year and most nominations overall. In other news of music, Maybe Happy Ending had its Broadway debut last Tuesday. The musical follows two helper bots on an adventure of self-discovery and love. Many claim the musical to be inspiring, charming, and an example of what is to come to Broadway in the future. The New York Times tech strike has officially ended, only lasting 8 days. The staff planned to strike right before Election Day, when they knew traffic would be high. However, the strike ended despite not reaching a deal like the workers wanted. The union workers still see the strike as a success, as it proved their value to the company. Now, moving on to hotter tea, the toy company Mattel recently recalled thousands of Wicked dolls due to a manufacturing error. The packaging that contained these 11-inch dolls had a pornographic website printed on the back. Mattel issued a statement in which they apologized for the unfortunate error and advised parents to discard the product packaging. Meanwhile, the misprinted versions are currently being sold on eBay for prices over $4,000. Now that's wicked. But staying with everything that's hot, with over 300,000 votes, John Krasinski has been awarded the title of 2024's Sexiest Man Alive by People's Magazine. He's best known for his role as Jim Halpert in the show The Office. And let me tell you, GC360 is very happy with this win. That's the buzz I have for you this week. Back to you.
Thanks, B. The GCSU Department on Theater and Dance prepares students with educational and personal hands-on experience. The department recently put on the 12th Night production, which is about love, relationships, and living life to the fullest. Reporter Teresa Owen went to the production and interviewed the actors and directors of the production about their experience working on set.
The Shakespearean play, Twelfth Night, presented by the GCSU Department of Theater and Dance, recently finished production. What is the Twelfth Night? Music director and actor Helen Garcia Carreras explains.
The Twelfth Night is a Shakespearean play toward the end of his career that highlights a bunch of different love relationships in the city of Illyria, and specifically regarding a set of twins, Viola and Sebastian, and all of the hilarity that ensues with their physical likeness.
This production was the result of the hard work of a lot of people, from the actors, costume designers, sound designers, and lighting designers, and so many more. Director of the play and assistant professor of performance, Jeremy Lee Cudd, shares what the most exciting thing about this process was for him.
I mean, the exciting thing for me is sharing a Shakespeare experience as an actor. When I was in undergrad, I was obsessed with Shakespeare. When I first started working on it as an actor, there was something about it that just felt like I was growing and cutting my teeth on something that thousands of other actors before me have worked on. And that legacy and being a part of that legacy and the things that it teaches you about yourself as a performer, I was really excited about trying to create a framework where the students could discover that for themselves.
Though this production has concluded, Helen shares her final thoughts about the ultimate takeaway from the show.
I think that the biggest takeaway from this show is don't take life too seriously. That's ultimately the final song that I sing in the show is called Hajanga by Jacob Collier. It's a very different version, but it's Hajanga by Jacob Collier. And essentially the whole song sums up, I think, the message of the show. Saying, the lyrics go, even when the sun refused to shine, there's a song of love that never dies. Even when the good things fall apart, lift your hands up from your heart, singing, la 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 la. And so I think that that's really the message of things are going to go wrong and things are going to go right. And no matter what's happening, take a breath and live your life to the fullest.
Don't take life too seriously is a good message to keep in mind, especially as we move closer to final season and the end of the semester. Reporting for GC360, I'm Teresa Owen.
In the powerful world of mass media, the risk of spreading misinformation continues to rise. Christopher Jackson, a GC alum, visited the university to speak such dangers of the media. Reporter Drew Hill tells us more.
Students and facilities at Georgia College gathered in the Arts and Sciences building last week for a thought-provoking discussion on growing concerns surrounding social media and mass media. The event, officially known as Social Media Problems in the Mass Media, took place Thursday, October 24th from 5 to 6 p.m. Georgia College alumni and media strategist Christopher Jackson hosted the event as the designated speaker. In this discussion, he spoke on the far-reaching effects of social media platforms and topics including mental health, culture, and misinformation. He also shared his takes on why he believes it's important for students to have such discussions.
So I think talking about these social issues are really important for a society, especially through media. We all consume it every day, and in order to advance a society, we need to know the issues that are impacting us. So I really think that talking about them with your peers and understanding the things that go on in our backyard is really important.
Upon entering the lecture, students were given 2 note cards and asked to write yes on one and no on the other one. Throughout the lecture, students were also shown several clips from various media platforms. Students were then asked to share their opinions on how different issues were portrayed in the media clips by holding up the note cards they received at the beginning. Junior Emily Heiler, marketing major, attended the discussion, and she shared her thoughts on what she saw.
I learned a lot from the lecture because it touched on a lot of topics that are very relevant in college student lives.
The event's purpose was to help students navigate the complexities of the digital age. With the growing presence of social media and mass media in everyday life, such discussions are becoming increasingly relevant on college campuses around the country.
This is Drew Hill reporting to you from GC360. Back to you.
Now let's turn to the world of sports. For that, here's AJ Coney, bringing the Bobcat Nation together. Take it away.
Thanks, Jackson. With the new season of Bobcats basketball getting underway, the men's basketball team had their home opener yesterday. After a hard-fought battle with 7 ties and 10 lead changes, the Bobcats fell short in the end due to a late push from the Auburn-Montgomery Eagles. It was a valiant effort from our team, and now they turn their attention to 2 away games against Converse University in South Carolina and Shorter University in Rome, Georgia. Best of luck, Bobcats. Moving on, the Atlanta Falcons are steamrolling their way to the top of the NFC East. After a dominant win against the Cowboys and a saddening but well-fought loss to the New Orleans Saints, they now turn their attention to the Denver Broncos. Coming off a loss to the Chiefs on a game-winning field goal block, they're looking for payback. With these two teams both having a top 10 defense, it's sure to be a great chaos. The Dirty Birds have held their opponents to less than 350 all-purpose yards in 4 of the last 5 games. They've also forced the most fumbles in the league, which will play a huge toll in this game. If they can win the turnover battle, then the Falcons can win the game. The college football season is slowly winding down. After Georgia's embarrassing loss to Ole Miss, the College Football Playoff Committee has now decided that they are ranked outside of the new 12-team playoff bracket. While this may be a huge blank, there are still plenty of opportunities and ways for Georgia to win the SEC. With the rest of the bracket shaping up to be a huge class of powerhouses like Oregon and Ohio State, and the underdogs like Boise State and Indiana. Only time will tell how this crazy college football season will end. That's all I have for sports this week. Back to you, Amelie.
Thanks, AJ. That's all for GC360 this week, Bobcats. Thank you for joining us today, and make sure you tune in next Thursday at 4 p.m. on NBC TV4 through the CableCast app. I'm Amelie Sengupta.
And I'm Jackson Schwartz. When we are not on the air, we keep you up to date on our social media. That's at GC360 News on Instagram and YouTube, and at bobcatmultimedia.com/GC360. Always available to you where news comes full circle. See you next week.